transport. So what is cell? Cell is the basic structural and functional units of living organisms. And also your cell has two major parts. It is your nucleus and your cytoplasm. So your nucleus has a nuclear membrane which protects the nucleus from the rest of the structures of the cytoplasm. While your cytoplasm has cytoplasmic membrane which protects the cytoplasm of the cell from the extracellular environment. So according to Robert Hooke, the cell was about the cell. He was an English scientist who invented the microscope. It is Robert Hooke, and he observed honeycomb-like dead cells in a thin slice of cork under the microscope. So he coined the term cell, which means a small room or compartment. And Anton van Leeuwenhoek, who discovered the microscope as well, first saw and described a living cell. So your cell has three theories formulated by Schleiden and Schwann. So the principles of cell theory are all living cells are made up of cells, or all living things are made up of cells. And cells are the smallest working unit of all living things. Also, all cells come from pre-existing cells through cell division. Okay, so those are the three cell theories according to Schleiden and Schwann. So number one, all living things are made up of cells just like us, and just like other living things, we are made up of single cell, then multiple cell, then multicellular cell, to organ, and to human body. Okay. Also, cells are the smallest working unit of all living cells because they can only be seen via your microscope or microscopic. And all cells come from pre-existing cells through cell division. So one cell came from pre-existing cell. They just undergo cell division, and we have two cell divisions for eukaryotic cell. We have your mitosis and your meiosis. Okay. So cells are also diverse, and not all cells are alike. So this is true, no? They are not alike. All cells are not alike. You have your neuron, nerve cell. You also have your squamous cell, also cuboidal cell. Also have your columnar epithelial cell, and your pseudo-stratified columnar epithelial cell. You also have your white blood cells, your platelets, and your red blood cells. So they are not alike. So each of them has its own characteristics and its own main functions inside the human body. Okay. So even cells within the same organism show enormous diversity in size. Excuse me. They show enormous diversity in size, shape, and internal organization. So these cells they have different sizes. Some are small, some are large, and they differ also in shape. Some are like cubes, some are like columns, also some are like filamentous, also some are like discs or oval or rounded. So your body contains around 1013 to 1014 cells of around 300 different cell types, which we broadly classify into four groups. You have your muscle cells, epithelial cells, connective tissue cells, and your nervous tissues. Okay. So your cell size varies, no, inside the human body. So you have here an atom is or has a size of zero point 0.1 nanometer. Your lipids around 1 nanometer. Your protein is around 10 nanometers. Your flu or viruses around 100 nanometer. Your bacteria and your mitochondria has a size of 1 micrometer. Your animal cell and your plant cell has a size of 10 to 100 micrometer. The human egg around between 100 micrometer to 1 millimeter. The frog egg around 1 millimeter. Your chicken egg around 10 to 100 nanometer. Your ostrich egg is around 100 millimeter, and adult female is 1 meter. So from zero point 0.1 nanometer up to 10 micrometer, they can be seen via electron microscope. For your uh, flu and viruses, which is around 100 nanometer, to the frog egg or 1 millimeter, can be seen by a light microscope or your compound microscope. And your human egg, which is can be seen in the female reproductive system or female reproductive organ, up to the adult female, can be seen by your naked eye. So there are a few types of cells are large enough to be seen by the unaided eye. So the human egg ovum or the egg cell is the largest cell in the body, and they can be seen without the aid of a microscope. So most cells are small for two main reasons. Number one is that the cell's nucleus can only control a certain volume of active cytoplasm, and cells are limited in size by their surface area to volume ratio. So the cell shape, cells come in a variety of shapes depending on their function. So the neurons from your toes to your head are long and thin, and blood cells are rounded discs so they can flow smoothly in the blood vessel. Okay, so your neurons are connected from your head to your toes or vice versa. And what does your neurons look like? I forgive my drawing, hindi kita ko sagad sa doing drawing, especially sa anak P na lab. Anyway, so this is now your neurons, no? From your head to toes because they are connected inside the human body. So they have a distinct characteristic and they have distinct shape, no? So you have here your dendrites, also your nerve cell, your nucleus, your cytoplasm, and of course your axons, no? About your blood cells around the disc so they can flow smoothly. So your RBCs, it's round disc like this, red blood cell. Okay, so it's like a donut shape. For other blood cells, you also have your white blood cells. So this one, this is your eosinophil. You also have your neutrophil. Okay, neutrophil. Also have your basophil. Also have your monocyte. And your lymphocyte. Also have your platelets. No, this is are your platelets. Platelets. Wrong spelling. Okay, so they say that cells come in a variety of shapes depending on their function. Excuse me. And blood cells are rounded dish so they can flow smoothly. So as you can see, they have different sizes and they have different functions. Of course, we have your uh, neurons for nerve impulse, and of course for the um, transferring of signal from one neuron to another neuron. You also have your red blood cell here. Okay, so this is now your red blood cell. This one. So you can see it is it's like a donut shape, or they are disc, rounded discs. You also have your blood cells or white blood cells. So we have five white blood cells. You have your eosinophils. So eosinophil is bilobed, which means bilobe siya. So bilobe, which means there's only two lobes of nucleus. The nucleus is bilobe, and it is orange in color under the microscope. Orange in color. Okay. Next is also your neutrophil. Your neutrophil has three to five lobes. Three to five lobes of your nucleus. And also have your basophil. Your basophil has two lobes, or also up to five lobes depending on the degree of its function. Okay, so your basophil is from the word itself, baso, which means it is basophilic. And if it is basophilic, you can neither see the the nucleus because of its basophilic cytoplasm. So basophilic, baso, which means basophilic, and philic, which means it loves basophil. Okay, basophilic environment. Your monocyte has a kidney shape, this one, kidney shape nucleus, while your lymphocyte is also rounded nucleus. So this one is bigger than your lymphocyte. So your eosinophil, we say earlier that cells come in variety of shapes depending on their function. So the function of your eosinophil is it is responsible for parasitic infection. So if a person is infected by a parasite, then eosinophil will be the one who is responsible to defend your body against parasitic infections. Also, your your neutrophil here, your neutrophil is the one responsible, together with monocyte, they are the one responsible for bacterial infection. Also, they can become a phagocyte when they are activated. So when they do their function, they are now called phagocytes. Okay, but if they just um, flow smoothly inside the human body, they can be called as their physiological names, which are neutrophil and monocyte. But if they are activated, they're being called as phagocyte. Phago, phagocyte. Phagocyte. And also, for your basophil, this is for responsible for allergic reactions. So if you have allergies, then your basophil will tend to rise up. Okay. Next, your monocyte for bacterial infection. Also for viral, they can also be dependable. And also for your lymphocyte, so this is now the one responsible for viral infection. So as nursing students, no, you'll be able to deal with a lymphocytic count or lymphocyte count when you go to hospitals or when you work as nurses years from now, because we have this section in the hospital which for HIV or AIDS patients. So we have the monitoring of their T lymphocyte count. Okay, so you monitor the lymphocyte count or the degree of viral load. So the higher the lymphocyte count, the better. If the lymphocyte count is um, below the average level, then therefore the patient is undergoing HIV or has AIDS, depending on the uh, patient's body or the patient's cell count, lymphocytic cell count. Okay, next, this one, their cell shapes. You have your red blood cell, this one, your red blood cell. So it's like a donut. You also have your columnar epithelial cells, which can be found in your GI tract, no? Ngunit nga ako na pencil man, doon nag-bisyo-bisyo na siya. How? You have your, in your GI tract. Okay. So what is GI tract? Gastrointestinal tract. So which means that can be found in your digestive system, columnar cells. So it has, this one is your, what is this? This is your basement membrane, right? Basement membrane. This one is cytoplasm. This is how you label in Anafi lab. No, this one is nucleus. This one is your cilia. Also, you have your ovum cell. So we can say that ovum cell is the largest cell inside the human body or your egg cell. So you can see there, stratified cuboidal. So this one, no, stratified cuboidal, cells. Okay, that surrounds the ovum. Also have your smooth muscle cells for construction, smooth muscle contraction. You can see this in your organs. No, you have organs. They are also involuntary muscle cells. Okay. Next, you also have your nerve cell. This one, drawing pa kumari gali. Okay, nerve cell. So you can see there your dendrites, your nucleus, cytoplasm. This one is for your axon, and another form of dendrites that will connect with other nerve cell. Also have your bone cell. Bone cell or your osteo. Other name for bone cell is your osteocyte. And also have your sperm cell. It is divided into two regions, your head and your tail. So those are the different types of cell size inside the human body. Okay. Okay. So cells are organized because cells contain a variety of internal structures called your organelles. Okay? Cells contain a variety of internal structures called organelles. What is an organelle? An organelle is a cell component that performs a specific function. So inside the organelle, we have mitochondria, rough ER, cell membrane, and etc. Okay, so your cell membrane acts as a barrier for the cell to defend itself from the external factors, and also it permits or allows membrane transport. Membrane transport. Okay, so your ER is also two. We have your rough ER here, and we have your smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So your rough ER is for protein synthesis, while your smooth ER is for lipid synthesis. Or later we'll discuss this one by one. So those are the different organelles that can be seen inside the cell. Okay, so cells are diverse, and whether multicellular or unicellular, all organisms must accomplish the same functions. So they are responsible for the uptake and processing of nutrients. So it means uptake, which means uh, they allow or they permit the entry of substances so that they can be used for cellular metabolic processes, and also excretion of waste. So they also excrete waste via exocytosis. And the organ responsible for the excretion of waste are your kidneys. Okay? So always take care of your kidneys and of course with your liver. Okay? Next is response to environmental stimuli. So you can respond, or cells can respond to environmental stimuli such as your temperature. So during temperature, if you feel cold, don't worry because you have your adipose tissues, because your adipocytes are thermal insulators. And they also have the capacity of reproduction via cell division. So what are the two types of cell division? Ano niya ako, pencil man. Via cell division. So what are the two types of cell division? We have your mitosis and meiosis. Okay. So they have the capacity to reproduce because according to the theory earlier, we'll go back here. In your theory, all cells come from pre-existing cells. Okay. Okay. So according to structure and function, your cells are classified into two types of cell. You have your prokaryotic cell and your eukaryotic cell. Your prokaryotic cell is single-celled organisms ranging from size 1 to 10 millimeter na ni siya how. It is also 1 to 10 micrometer. Okay? So you unit this 1 to 10 micrometer. And they are classified under Monera and Archaea. Okay? So you have there your prokaryotic cells such as your bacteria or fungi. What else? Virus. Okay? For eukaryotic cell, they are multicellular and have membrane-bound organelles. So you have your animal cell and your plant cell. So we humans, we are made up of eukaryotic cells. Okay? So let's start with prokaryotic cell. So your prokaryotic cell has this kind of structure. So you have here the inclusion. You also have there plasmids. Capsule is here. It is capsulated. Capsulated siya. And it has a cytoplasm. This one is your cytoplasm. You also have there the ribosomes, which floats inside the prokaryotic cell. The pintok-pintok, the points or the dots, those are your ribosomes. So aside from capsule, it has also a cell wall. Then it has also a plasma membrane. So this one, no, capsule, cell wall, and plasma membrane. So that they have three layers, no? Your prokaryotic cell has three layers to acts as a structural component and act as a barrier against phagocytic cell or against your WBCs. So they have also the capacity to protect themselves. Also, this outer layer here, this one that protrudes outside the cell or outside the prokaryotic cell, or what you call your fimbriae, this one, fimbriae, and also it has flagella for locomotion so that they can move inside if you are infected with a virus or with a bacteria. So they can swim via their flagella inside the human body. And of course, It has also this what we call your nuclear area or nucleoid. This one. So this is your nucleoid, no, because they do not have nucleus. So they just float freely inside the prokaryotic cell. So naman, they can just float freely inside the human cell. Sorry, the prokaryotic cell rather. I stand corrected. Prokaryotic cell. Okay, so this is what it looks like under the microscope. So always remember the prokaryotic cell. Okay, it has three layers: your capsule, cell wall, plasma membrane. It has no nucleus. It does not have organelles, as you can see. No, your prokaryotic cell has no mitochondria. It has no rough ER, no lysosomes, no peroxisomes. It does not have membrane. And if it does not have, it does not have organelle rather. So if this it does not have organelle, so it does not have also organelle, membrane bound organelles. Okay, but your prokaryotic cell has ribosomes, the same as eukaryotic cell, for protein synthesis, of course. They also have DNA, so in a form of your nucleoid or your nuclear area. So this one. So this is where the nucleoid or nuclear area. So this is where the DNA can be found. So they are generally small, and um, they can either be bacteria or viruses, and under the classification of RK. Okay, so this is what your prokaryotic cell looks like. Okay, so your prokaryotic cell, the cytoplasm contains, for your prokaryotic cell, the cytoplasm contains all the enzymes needed for all metabolic reactions, and there are no organelles. So always remember that there are no organelles. So there are no, ay kaano sa ako niya pencil do kaawat. So there are no, oy, ay Diyos ko, mag-highlight out. There are no organelles for your prokaryotic cell. For ribosomes, they have larger subunits, which is 70S for your ribosomes. Nuclear body, region of cytoplasm that contains DNA. So this is now your nuclear body. This is the nuclear body. So it is the region where DNA can be found, or DNA which consists your DNA. So the region of the cytoplasm that contains DNA, and it is not surrounded by nuclear membrane. DNA is always circular. Okay, DNA is circular and not associated with any protein to form chromatin. And plasmid or capsule or plasmid, this one, small loops of DNA used to exchange DNA between bacterial cells, often contain genes and gives resistance to antibiotics. So your plasmid is responsible for your antibiotics to be resistant. So there are two types of antibiotics. Now you have your resistant antibiotics and your um, sensitive antibiotics. So dapat ano siya, dapat resistant siya. It can resist the um, antibiotics. So that is why when you got sick, you have your doctor will ano na gani? Will give you a prescription medicine for antibiotics, which is good for 7 days. Then you have to take it for 3 times a day, and then antibiotics. So you have to finish those 7 days uh, antibiotic treatment, because there is a tendency, if you stop it within 4 to 5 days, then the bacteria will adjust, and they will create a more strong they will create a stronger capsule, stronger cell wall, on the next time they have the ability to adjust and to adapt, so that next time that you take that kind of antibiotics, they can now resist, no, they cannot be um what are they cannot be lysed, or they cannot be killed instantly by that antibiotics. So you have to finish that 7 days in order for you to completely destroy the bacteria inside the human body if you are infected. For prokaryotic cell, it does also have cell membrane, which is made up of phospholipids and proteins, just like the eukaryotic cell. It is also a mesosome, which is a tightly folded region of the cell membrane containing all the membrane-bound proteins required for the respiration and photosynthesis. Okay, so we have here in your example. So you have here mesosome. Your cell wall, of course, is made up of murine. Well, murine is made up also of glycoprotein or peptidoglycan layer. Glycoprotein or peptidoglycan. So you can say glycoprotein, which means glyco, which is a form of carbohydrate with protein. So it is called as glycoprotein. And also have your peptidoglycan, which means it has peptides, no, peptido. So it is made up of peptides, and a glycan, which is made up of carbohydrates. So it's made up of peptides, which is a protein, and a carbohydrate. So it depends on what organism is or having that cell wall. Also, your prokaryotic cell possess a capsule. Okay, it is a thick polysaccharide, which means it is a carbohydrate layer outside the cell wall. So it is made up of capsule. It is also used for sticking cells together as a food reserve, protection against desiccation, and protection against phagocytosis. So earlier, I told you that your white blood cell, for example, your neutrophil and your monocyte, they can be distinguished or classified as neutrophil and monocytes if they are physiologically inactive inside the human body, or they just flow within your blood vessel. But when they are activated, or when they do their function, they are now called as phagocytes. So when they called as phagocytes, they have this process called phagocytosis, which means they will eat and kill the bacteria or the um, virus that will enter the human body. But because of its thick polysaccharide, sometimes it would take around 20 neutrophil to kill bacteria. So they need more and more phagocyte in order to kill the bacteria because of its thick polysaccharide layer, which is your capsule. So it is capsulated. Okay, and aside from capsule, they shall, after they destroy the capsule, they shall destroy the cell wall, and they will destroy cell membrane. So imagine they have three doors to open in order for them, the phagocyte, to kill one bacteria inside the human body. Okay, so always take care of your body and take care of your health. So your prokaryotic cell is also flagellum or flagella. No, a flagella or flagellum is a rigid, rotating helical shaped tail used for propulsion. So this one is your flagella. This one, to ikog siya. It's like a tail, your flagella. So it is used for propulsion, and the motor is embedded in the cell membrane and is driven by hydrogen gradient across the membrane. So it needs a H plus in order for it to do its motor, and they can propulse, or they can move inside the human body if a human is infected with virus or with a bacteria. It also has a pili. These are small protrusions outside the membrane which aid prokaryotes in attaching to the surface. Okay, so what is a pili? So what does it look like? Okay, so your pili, so if this is your bacteria, it has this one, no? It has a pili. Okay, this one, pili. Forgive my drawing. So there are small protrusions outside the membrane. This one, small protrusions outside the membrane, which aid the prokaryotes in attaching to the surface. So this one is responsible for the attachment of your prokaryotic cell inside the human body. So they just stay on your blood vessel, or in the cell, or in your cell membrane, or uh, they can attach to the surface of your linings inside the human body. Okay, so those are your pili. Next, those are for your prokaryotic cell. Okay, remember those what we have discussed in your prokaryotic cell. Okay, next you also have your eukaryotic cell. So eukaryotic cell has two types also. You have your animal cell and your plant cell. So this one is your animal cell, this one is your plant cell. They only differ in cell wall. Okay, so your cell wall and a vacuole inside the cell. So let's discuss. Okay, so you can see here eukaryotic cell for the animal cell. It has a plasma membrane. It has also cilia, cell membrane or plasma membrane. They're just the same. It can have also nucleus. This one. It also have a nucleolus inside the nucleus. You have your nucleolus. Also have your nuclear pore, nuclear envelope, your rough endoplasmic reticulum, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, peroxisomes, centrosomes, centriole, lysosomes, Golgi apparatus, secretory vesicles, mitochondria, of course, the favorite, which is the powerhouse of the cell. And for your plant cell, you have also here the cell membrane. This one, cell membrane. If it is a cell membrane, there's also a cell wall. No, plasmodesma. There's a plasmodesma. Also, it has vesicles, peroxisomes. They have this vacuole, large vacuole inside. So the nucleus is not in the center; it is on the side. The nucleus, nucleolus, and nuclear envelope, nuclear pore, mitochondria, of course, smooth and rough ER, ribosomes, chloroplast for chlorophyll, lysosomes, and so on and so forth. So those are the different parts and characteristics of a eukaryotic cell for animal and plant cell. Now, let's discuss the nucleus. So nucleus has a nuclear envelope. So this is what a nucleus looks like. So this is nucleus, okay? Inside under the microscope. So have you seen this in your anaphy, right? Your nucleus. So your nucleus has a nuclear envelope, okay? It has an it has an outer envelope, and it also has an inner nuclear envelope. So it protects the nucleus from invading organisms, or it protects itself around the cytoplasm. Okay. Also, inside the nucleus, we have your chromatin. This one, chromatin, and your nucleolus. Nucleolus. Okay. Inside the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, there is a nucleolus. And outside, we have here a nuclear pore. So, what is the function of the nuclear pore? So, we have here for it to attach to the rough endoplasmic reticulum. So, this one, nuclear pore here. And it goes continuous with your rough endoplasmic reticulum. Your nucleolus is attached to your rough endoplasmic reticulum so that it can synthesize RNA and DNA inside the cell. Okay. Next, we have nucleus. Nucleus gyapon. They are present only in eukaryotic cell or in eukaryotes, and they are absent in prokaryotes. Okay? Your prokaryote or your prokaryotic cell earlier, di ba kita nyo man to? You've seen it that it has no nucleus. And it also contains DNA and chromosomes and the hereditary material, and it is not present in red blood cells or bacteria. Nucleus has an outer double layered nuclear membrane with nuclear pores, a transparent granular matrix called your nucleoplasm or your caryolymph or chromatin network composed of DNA and histones and a darkly stainable spherical body called your nucleolus. Okay, so your nucleus has or it has the DNA and histones, which is responsible for uh, genetic material. Okay, your nuclear pores are large molecules that can pass between the cytoplasm and nucleus through these pores. Example, your mRNA or messenger RNA from the nucleus to the cytoplasm and nucleotides the other way. Chromatin. Chromatin is the very fine thread-like combinations of DNA and protein in non-dividing nuclei. The protein assists in the efficient packaging and regulation of DNA activity. A human nucleus contains 46 such fine threads of chromatin. Okay. So 23 pairs, so it is 46 chromatin. Chromosomes. So are you familiar with chromosomes, no? When you draw your mitosis, so the chromosomes are aligned. We have your what are the phases of your mitosis, no? You have your prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. So the chromosomes line, ano, inside or those of the cell division. So you are familiar with chromosomes. So chromosomes are condensed chromatin thread only visible during mitosis and meiosis. So they can be seen only during cell division. And the chromosome consists of both DNA and protein seen as chromosomes when highly condensed in preparation for cell division. So the nuclei of human somatic cells are diploid or 2N with 46 chromosomes or 23 pairs of sex chromosomes. So you have your female is XX and male as your XY. Okay? And each chromosome has a unique set of genes. Each gene has a specific locus. It is on the particular chromosome at a specific site. Okay? Those are for your chromosomes. So female is XX and male is XY. So always remember that male has two XX because they have two fallopian tubes. They can also have two ovaries. Where for male XY, so that you will remember, no, XY. So ang Y do nagapatuslok, no, hangari, no. So sila gatuslok ang male. So it is XY so that you can remember. Okay. So XX is male, or XY is male. XX is female rather. Okay. Nucleolus, a dark region involved in making ribosomes and translating your mRNA, also known as ribosome factory of the cell. So it is where the ribosomes manufactured as well. It is discovered by Fontana. It's the most common proteins are histones. Cut siya sa good notes, pero kung ara siya sa slides, okay, good siya. Okay, this one. The most common proteins are histones, and DNA is coiled around the histones in a regular pattern that produces structure called nucleosomes. Okay, let's go back here. Okay, this one. So I told you earlier that you are familiar with your chromosome, right? So during your what do you call this, anaphase, chromosomes are lined, no, inside the cell during cell division. This one, right? Oh my god, low ay drawing ko. Okay, so these are your chromosomes. This is no ana. anaphase during cell division. So they are only visible during cell division mo. The chromosomes are only visible during cell division. And this is now what it looks like under the microscope. So it's like this one, it's like a butterfly na wala ginang buka. Okay, this one, your metaphase. Then, if we see this, you see this is called your tight helical. This one. Next is the supercoil. This one, the smaller, we have the nucleosome. This is your nucleosome. This one is a nucleosome. And the nucleosome is surrounded by a linker. This one, this like thread-like is a linker. And beads on strings. This one, the circle here. Those are beads on strings. And each of them is called your histones. Okay, histones. And your histones is called by your DNA. So that is what your chromosome looks like under the microscope. Okay, next, you also have your ribosomes. Okay, sa good notes ko sulat ko. Okay, ribosomes are divided into two units. You have your large subunit and small subunit. Okay, so ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis as well in the cell, and they are most common organelles inside the human body. So if earlier the ribosomal cell category of prokaryotic cell is 70S for the prokaryotic cell, for the ribosomes it is 80S. Ribosomal size. For prokaryotic 70S, and for eukaryotic cell it is 80S. So group of 80S ribosomes working together known as a polysome. Poly, which means many, and some, ribosome. So many ribosome, polysome. Okay. Next is your endoplasmic reticulum. So it has two types, no? Rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So your this is now what you call your endoplasmic reticulum, and your rough endoplasmic reticulum is attached to your nucleus. It is for translating the mRNA or messenger RNA for DNA synthesis. And also you have your smooth endoplasmic reticulum for your lipid synthesis. Okay. Okay. Excuse me for that. Okay. For your endoplasmic reticulum, the ER is or endoplasmic reticulum is a system membranous tubules and sacs, and the primary function of the endoplasmic reticulum is to act as an internal transport system, allowing the molecules to move from one part of the cell to another part of the cell. So the quantity of endoplasmic reticulum inside the cell fluctuates depending on the cell's activity, and cells with a lot include secretory cells and liver cells. For your endoplasmic reticulum, we have rough ER, which is studied with ATS ribosome. That is ATS, no? ATS, 80S ribosomes. And it's the site of protein synthesis. So protein synthesis is a template of the protein synthesis comes from the nucleus, and the structure of the ER is therefore interrelated to it. Now, your smooth ER is where the polypeptides are converted into functional proteins and where proteins are prepared for secretion. It is also site for lipid synthesis and it has no ATS ribosome. So the only